Good morning. This is June 17th, 2015. This is Nadine Mora, and I'm Raquel Cajigas doing an ethnographic interview of Nadine. Nadine, thank you for being with us here today. And I also wanted to just give you some background in my project. So it is anthropology, cultural anthropology, with an educational lens. So thinking about how our students are adapting to their culture in school and what's going on in school, your experience of school, especially from your cultural lens. So our project was to interview someone, maybe from a minority group, which you are a woman, and you are of what descent are you from?
I'm Mexican, so Hispanic.
Okay. And and how old are you? Can you tell?
I'm 18 years old.
Okay. So that's just a little bit of background. So I'm going to just ask you some questions about your experience and where you've come from and where you're going, and a little bit of background on your family. Okay? All right. And I will be recording this, and if you have any questions along the way, just let me know. Okay. Thank you. All right. So you talked about how you are of Mexican descent. Can you talk a little bit about your family and where they're from and how you got here?
So my family is from a small town in Mexico near Guadalajara. My mom went to school in Mexico. I believe she made it. She graduated. She was a preschool teacher in Mexico. But she came to the U.S. to be able to support her family more in Mexico. So she came when she was 18 years old. And from that age, she didn't think about coming to school here. Her main priority was making sure she got a paycheck to send back to Mexico. And then after that, her goal was to make sure to be able to bring my grandparents over here and support them here. And for my dad, it was different because my dad was born in Mexico, but he was brought back here when he was like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to school here, but he didn't finish high school. So there was a difference there. I don't know if it was because he was the oldest, so he had to support his family. Mm-hmm. So that's why he didn't finish. But I don't know, it was different. And like my mom, she was the youngest, so she had the ability to go to school. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how or where did they meet, or where did they settle in the United States?
Okay. So when my mom came, she settled in in East Los Angeles because that was like the center where most of the Hispanic families were, and that's what like her family. Since she had older siblings, that's where they came from, and since East LA is all about like Hispanic culture, so that's where I guess she fit in mostly, and also my dad, that's where his family resided too.
Okay, and that's where you grew up as well.
Yes.
All right, and where did you go where did you go to high school?
High school.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna fast forward, I guess,
Okay.
or actually, where did you go to school? So maybe start with maybe when were you born?
Okay, so I was born in February 1997. I was born in the hospital in East Los Angeles. That's now closed. Santa Marta Hospital. And I went to school in East Los Angeles. I was going to go to a public school, but because when I went to go like do my orientation, I guess, I was speaking Spanish to my mom, so the teachers there thought I only spoke Spanish. So they were kind of like hesitant on like offering me like an enrollment there because they didn't have like an English learning class. So they thought I only spoke Spanish. And once my mom saw like they were kind of hesitant, they didn't want to help us, so that's when she put me into Catholic school. So I went to Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish School in East Los Angeles. And from there on, I was just from the beginning of going to school at Our Lady of Guadalupe, I was my mom always instilled in me the idea that like education is important, and it's what she offered to me, and it's a gift that sometimes people don't get. So from a young age, education to me was important because of her.
All right. And where did you go to high school? So now we're kind of caught up, I guess.
Yes. So I went to high school, to San Gabriel Mission High School, and that was kind of difficult for my mom, I guess, because again she wanted me to go to high school in the Lincoln Heights area, which is also a Hispanic area. So it would be calming for her. Like it wouldn't be so strange for her to like kind of transition. But when I had researched mission for a long time since I was in like the 6th grade. So I would tell her, I want to go to mission, but she was still kind of hesitant, and she really didn't want me to come here. But once we came here, and it was kind of like a cultural transition, because we went from like having like knowing, I don't know, because my mom meets people everywhere, but it was like a cultural tradition, because she wasn't used to like seeing like, since the San Gabriel community is mostly like Asian and white, she wasn't used to that. So it was
And by the community, you mean the city, or did you mean the school?
The city and school, because it was a different thing. But once we got here in the mission, she realized that there was more Hispanic families at mission, so that's what made her comfortable, like knowing that there's people that kind of had the same background as her.
Okay. All right. And how would you describe yourself as a student at San Gabriel Mission High School?
Like educationally, or
as a student?
As a student, I think I would be. I'm a hardworking student, and I always try to strive for the best. And when I find something to be challenging, I try to overcome that challenge. So I just, as a student, I never give up and learn. So like whether that be outside of like extracurriculars or even in the classroom. So I go in the classroom, it'd be if I ever have a problem in the classroom, I would go to tutoring, because I'm not afraid to ask for help. So.
Okay. And what is your grade now, or what's where are you at in high school?
I just graduated, and I'm going to be a freshman in college.
Okay, and where are you going to college?
I'm going to UC Irvine.
Okay.
Yes.
And what will be your major?
I'm majoring in business, marketing, and administration. Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me how you came to that decision to go to UCI? Do the school first.
Okay. So actually, before making the decision to go to UCI, my mind was always set to Santa Clara University. But when I didn't get accepted, my heart I was sad. But also thinking about it now that I'm going to UCI, I don't know mentally how I would have been going to Santa Clara, because for me, UC Irvine is kind of far. Like realistically, once I was in that position, like I don't know if I would have actually gone to Santa Clara, because it's kind of far. So distance is one of the reasons why I chose UCI. I chose UCI because when I went...
And distance to...
yes, to the campus.
No, what?
Distance from home.
From home, okay.
Yeah, from family, yeah. So when I chose UCI because I felt it is a big campus, but it's a campus that I can familiarize myself with, because it's like in a circle, so it won't be that hard to transition.
Okay.
Yes. But also that when I went there, I went on a tour from Mission. When I was a sophomore, I met some of the students, and they really loved it, and like they were able. They were students like me who I could relate to, that were like doing amazing things at UCI, so I kind of saw myself as a UCI student.
And what did you mean by college tour?
Like, oh, because my sophomore year through my high school, we went to a like a college tour
Mm-hmm.
to UCI, and it
Mm.
was like a whole day thing. Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so the main reasons you chose it were distance,
Mhm.
and then you could see yourself there even.
And also one of the biggest, factors is affordability.
Oh, okay.
Because I, mm, it's in choosing the school. Also, the prices were important because I wanted to be able to make sure that I could pay it.
Mm-hmm.
And since my parents are going to help me in the beginning, to make sure they can help me pay it, and it's something not out of their reach, instead of like the $40,000 school, something I can afford.
Mm-hmm.
So and UCI is offering me a lot of help, so that's kind of another reason why I'm going there.
Mm-hmm. All right. And can you tell me again what were your major choices of study?
Business,
Mm-hmm.
marketing and administration.
Okay. And can you tell me how you became interested in those fields or those majors?
I actually, when coming into Mission, I wanted to study engineering,
Mm-hmm.
but through Mission, I was able to find out that I was good in math, and but I wasn't really, science really wasn't my subject.
Okay.
I was good in it, but not to the, like, it wasn't something I loved to do, and math I loved to do. So from freshman to sophomore year, my goal was to become an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
But also along that way, I was part of the marketing team here at Sangerville Mission High School.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what really helped me choose my major, because I was able to see, like, I market the school as part of a marketing team. But I would research the career, and as I researched it, I fell in love with the career.
Mm.
And I was able to see myself doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I wanted to be an engineer, I really didn't see myself.
Mm.
But now,
What do you mean by see yourself?
like, I don't know, because again, culturally,
Mm-hmm.
from like culturally where I come from, not a lot of people go into the science field, and I wanted to break that. I wanted to break that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But as I became like a junior and a senior, I was realizing that maybe it wasn't the right career for me.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, just recently, I was talking to like UCI students, and I was telling them about my major issues, because it was, and I was basically telling them, like, I'm not good into, and I wasn't good in science, so I didn't see myself in engineering. And they helped me realize that I was looking at I was like kind of degrading myself.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you can do whatever you want, like, it's up to you. You don't have to fit the label of where you come from. So it was again, it was a realization. So I'm gonna be majoring in business, but I'm gonna be minoring in engineering. So I'm gonna do a little bit of both. Yes.
Right. Dabble in it a little bit.
Yes.
All right. So, thinking about where you've come from, where you've been, and that schooling and all the stuff that you talked about, your family, your neighborhood, are there things that you would say prepared you to succeed that will prepare you to succeed in, well, let's start with high school, because that's where you're just ending, but are there things that have prepared you to succeed in high school? And I know you didn't, were you a straight A student?